Thank you so much for joining in tonight. You are in for the greatest time of your life, and I'm not mincing words, right? I'm not mincing words at all. So you're very much welcome. You're very, very much welcome. And I assure you that tonight is going to be a wonderful time. You're going to be healing from so many trauma that you might have accrued from childhood. And there is something that I want you to have at the back of your mind, that this is not just one of those webinars that you would attend. Forget about the number of people here. There are so many people that are still, we are in the age of information, and there is a whole lot of information out there, to the extent that you yourself will begin to feel like you know so much. But you really, there are so many things that you don't know, right? And one of the things is that we're going to be dealing with that this evening. And I'm welcoming you all. Welcoming you all. This is Menda's Hill Coaching Company, and this is also doubling as a launch webinar. We are just, launching the Menda's Hill Coaching Company, and what we do here is majorly to bridge the gap between parents and teenagers. Our major focus is the adolescent age. So there is a difference between the teenager and then the adolescent. I don't know if somebody is here that you believe that there is no difference. If you think there is a difference between a teenager and an adolescent, I want to see it in the chat box. I want to see it in the chat box. Let's see what we actually know. Is there a difference between a teenager and an adolescent? Let me see. Let's see if you have something to say. Let's see it in the chat box. So I'm not going to spill the tea yet if there is a difference between teenager and adolescent. I want to see us in the chat room, in the chat box, if we actually believe that there is a difference. If you think there is a difference, let me see yes. If there is no difference, just put no. Maybe somebody is going to get a free coaching session in this place today. Okay, so somebody said yes. Somebody said yes. Okay, I need someone else to answer if you say yes or no. So you're going to defend your answer. You're going to defend your answer. Like Simi said, this is the time that you're going to have interactive sessions. So you're not just going to sit back and listen and just take everything in. We also want to hear from you, right? So Menda's Hill, what we do majorly is to help teenagers thrive. We know that teenagers go through so many developmental stages, and adolescents go through so many developmental stages. I think I'm going to have to just spill the tea now. So there's a difference between teenager and adolescent. So the adolescent is the wider period of development, while the teenager is just the little time between 13 to 19. So we have 3 stages in the adolescent, and some children start at 8 years, or 10. So it starts between 8 and 10, all the way through to 25. And some people, because adolescent stage, the development stage, also has to do with your cognitive abilities, the development of your brain. So some people don't develop until like they're 30 years. So you wonder, you meet some people and you be like, why is this person? I thought you were 30. So why are you acting this way? Why are you behaving this way, right? It's because they have not gone beyond the adolescent age. There is still something that they need to work on. Their brain still needs to develop, the part of their brain that needs to, make decisions. It's not yet really developed. So some people span through to adolescent in like 30 years old, and I know that many of us here are already matured, right? So when you hear the word matured, what do you mean matured? So it's somebody whose brain has, cognitive, it has developed in its cognitive abilities, all right? And also all the biological and physiological development is also, sometimes, when you see some teenagers and you be like, I'm going to develop, this child is already really developed, but really it's just hormones that is running through their body. So Menda's Hill is majorly here to, bridge the gap and also help people, adolescents in that particular stage, to thrive in life, to help you go through all the mind storms that you might be going through, all the issues that you might be experiencing, all the situations or the trauma that you might be experiencing. So we also help with emotions coaching. We help with emotions coaching. We help with leadership coaching for teenagers and adolescents. We help you thrive in every sphere of your life, right? So I want us to quickly do something quickly. I want us to do something quickly before we bring our expert in, or expert up, to take us on this wonderful ride. All right, so in the chat box, I want to do something in 2 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes now. I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. So pardon me, I'm going to tell Siri to set a timer for 2 minutes because we are in the technology age, right? Hey Siri, can you set a timer for me? 2 minutes, please. All right, so what you're going to do, I'm going to pause it now. So what you're going to do for me is that I want you to imagine and think about yourself when you were a child, right? And there was this particular experience that you had and you were so happy. You were over the moon, you were joyous, and you were just very happy. You didn't want that day to end. So I want you to go back. I want you to reminisce, go back in retrospect. When was that thing? When did it happen? So I'm going to take us on a very short storytelling course right now. So you're in storytelling masterclass right now. So because the person that's going to write the best story is going to win something very special. I'm not going to tell you here. The person is going to receive it in their mail. So I want you to, in 2 minutes, everybody's going to do it at the same time. So we don't have, short statements. So I want you to put it in a very long, I don't need a short response. It has to be very long. So that experience that you had as a child, that you did not want that day to end, you were so happy and you feel like it has actually created a very beautiful memory in your mind. You know that and I don't want this day to stop. I don't want this day to end. So what you're going to do for me is that you bring that to the forefront of your face right now. The thing that experience that you actually wanted to repeat itself, right? That kind of experience that you had in time past that you want to repeat itself. You want it to happen again. I want you to put it in a chat box. So in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to start my timer now. So I will tell you when to start and when to stop. So the moment I tell you to stop is the time that you're going to press enter, right? You must type, you must type, Olayemi Dorcas, you must type. Just try, right? Just try. It's an exercise that will open you up for the session that we're about to go into. So in the next 2 minutes, think back on the experience that you had as a child. Right, this is classwork now. Remember, it's a workshop as well. Think back on the experience that you had as a child, a memory, a beautiful memory that you would like that it repeats itself again. So I'm going to count down 5 and then we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's go. 2 minutes has started. 2 minutes has started. I'm just going to allow you, think, reminisce, or maybe I give you examples. Maybe your dad, you were just dreaming that I want ice cream, and then daddy comes home with ice cream. You're like, daddy read my mind. How did he know this and that? So I want to put it in a chat box. So at the end of 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you to stop. Right? I'm going to tell you to stop. So let's go. Yes, our timer is off. So press enter. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I like this. I like this. So Marvelous said, I remember one Children's Day event that we had in church. There was plenty of food, drinks, and we had Barney. Okay, yes, Barney. I think it was Purple. Yes. Barney come around too. I was to sing a song, which I did. I sang so well that people had to spray me money. I had one small purse and plenty pockets in my skirt. I packed all my money and kept it. When we were about to leave, I was even crying that I want to sing more, because of the money. The food was so sweet. That's so good. And I'm sure you wanted to. Are you in the choir? So if you are not in the choir, maybe this is the time for you to go and do voice training so that you can be in the choir. Maybe you go and do and best singing so that you can spray you money. Right? That's very good. Thank you so much, Marvelous. So Olayemi Pearl said, so that was when I first sang as a children's in the children's choir. It was a memorable time. You see, singing, it gives me the chance to voice out and face a lot of people. Wow. I could remember it was during Easter. And Easter is just coming up very soon. Wow, this is so good. That was like my best Easter ever. Oh, Fakon Oluwaseyi says, the day I joined a new school in primary 5, actually, and as a new student, the teacher asked the question in class, and I was the only one that knew the answer. Ooh, bookworm. After school that day, a lot of people wanted to be my friend, or especially guys. Most of them felt like I have come to take over the class, which I actually did at the end of the term. I said it's bookworm. Then during the afternoon lesson, later that day, 2 boys in class told my teacher that they liked me. They even went to meet the teacher. And they would do anything to get my attention. Wow, anything at primary 5. All right. Esther said, for me, it was a Christmas, and my mom bought me a dress and made my hair too. Oh, I remember that it was Bob Marley. Can we remember Bob Marley? And I was so proud to show it off. That's so good. That's so good. So, who is going to win my gift like this? Who is going to win my gift? But anyways, before the end of the class, we are going to know who's going to win the gift. So, is there anybody here that actually resonated with what Shay said about being a bookworm? It's about giving yourself validation, and people also giving you validation that, oh, this person is actually a bookworm. You don't just think in your head that you're a bookworm. For the boys to go and meet the teacher with so much confidence, and the children went to meet the teacher that we will do anything to be our friend, to get our attention. So is there anyone here, if it resonated with you, let me see if you actually did. If the our story resonated with you, let me see in the chat box. Let me just see yes, 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 yes. Was there a time that you actually wanted that attention so bad? Thank you, thank you. There was a time that you wanted that attention so bad. You know, there are some times that, oh, in class, maybe they ask the question and you are the only one that knows the answer. And maybe you don't want people to, and normally, maybe you are the one that always know the answer to the question in class. So that day, you didn't want people to call you a fico. You just don't want to allow, please, because maybe there's somebody that you like and the person did not know as much book as you. Person that ITK, I too know, right? So things like that made you, it will make you want to withdraw and not want to show thank you and not want to show off the way you should, right? So this is one of the things that we are going to be talking about and healing tonight. Those things that you experienced as a child that you would want that thing to happen again, but probably, there have been experiences that will make you cower back in fear, or just doubt yourself, or just limit yourself. There are some things that you would like to do that you cannot just do. Like somebody said in our story, I'm trying to see, yes, Olayemi Pearl. I'm not sure if you're a lady or a guy, but what Olayemi Pearl said about singing, and then it gives him or her the chance to voice out and face a lot of people. Maybe you want to learn how to, talk in the public, but you just can't. And the way to express yourself is through singing. And maybe somebody has said to you that, shut up, you don't know how to sing, as a child. Maybe you stop making noise. You are disturbing my peace in this house. Just shut up. The way you're singing, you don't know how to sing, self. And things like that have, made you just withdraw, and you just dump that thing in your head. Maybe they give you mic in church and somebody says that, you know how to sing, but that person's statement keeps ringing in your head. That's one of the things that we're going to be dealing with tonight. So, without further ado, I don't want to waste our time tonight. I would like to welcome our guest.
So we're talking about breaking the cycle of trauma through inner child healing. And that's what we're talking about today. And like I said earlier, I enjoyed the introduction we had earlier about, and really a lot of the times people exaggerate trauma. And I think every one of us, everybody has trauma in their life. Yeah, everyone has trauma in their life. Everyone. Of course, the rate of the trauma, the intensity of the trauma differs from person to person, but everybody has experienced trauma at one point or the other in their lives. So when you think of trauma, don't just think of a serious life-changing event, but think of the little things also, because also we respond to events differently. Yeah, based on how we have been taught, based on how we have been conditioned to respond to those events. That means that what is trauma for one person might not be trauma for another person. But all the same, everybody has trauma. And I'll give you a typical example. So if someone, for instance, has been taught, who is from a religious from a religious family, and has been taught rapture as a child, and has been taught that, there's going to come a time where everybody's going to be raptured, and then some people are going to be left behind. Yeah, and another child wasn't taught that. Two of them come back from school, or go home from school to their various families, and they discover that there is nobody at home. The house is empty. Now, the person who has been taught about rapture can see that as a traumatic experience, and then become traumatized, thinking that, oh, everybody has been raptured and he or she is left behind. Why the other child, who was never taught about rapture, will see that as an opportunity to have maybe an alone time, or even to do something that he or she wouldn't have been able to do if other people were home. So you see how that trauma can play in our lives differently based on the condition that we have. But like I said earlier, everybody has trauma in their lives, right? Whether it is coming from upbringing, or it is coming from environment, or significant emotional experiences. We all have trauma. And what is trauma? Trauma is an emotional or psychological response to a deeply distressing and disturbing event, experience, or situation. Yeah, and this event or situation or experience, can be anything at all. Yeah, it can even be words spoken to a person that can cause trauma. Yeah, it can become very distressing and disturbing when a person hears a particular word. Yeah, there are people, for instance, when they perceive a particular perfume, it elicits certain memories, disturbing memories, that they had, maybe of somebody who used that same perfume, and who abused them at some point in their life, or somebody who broke their hearts, who used to use that same perfume. That becomes a traumatic experience for them. For another person, it could be when a particular word is used on you. When somebody says stupid, you can get really angry, because that cuts really deep, and elicits emotions from what your dad or your mom used to say to you when you were 4 years old. Yeah, so that is trauma, and I could give examples upon examples as to what trauma is. Now let's talk about the stages of the cycle of trauma. The first is the traumatic event in itself. The traumatic event is a distressing or disturbing experience, such as physical or emotional abuse, neglect, loss, or disaster. Yeah, so that is called the traumatic event. Yeah, like I said, it could be neglect, the fact that you were neglected, you had to be home for home alone for a long period of time, and that affected your personality, that affected, you know, your emotions, and also affected how you relate with other people. Yeah, and some even seemingly good things that parents or handlers did with children, or with their words, could also be traumatic for them. I just give an example with a concept like rapture. Yeah. For some of us, for instance, we used to watch certain types of movies that traumatized us. I don't know how many people remember Ayamatanga. But there was a movie we used to call Ayamatanga. Please, this is a good time to minimize my presentation and then say, if there's anybody who knows Ayamatanga, if you know Ayamatanga, please type yes in the chat box. I want to see people within my age bracket. If you don't know Ayamatanga, you should be calling me brother or Uncle Miracle. Okay, does anybody know Ayamatanga here? Oh, beautiful. So Ayamatanga used to be this movie that was scary, traumatized us. Yeah, for a long time, I used to be really scared of of dark places or dark rooms. I couldn't stay alone. So if my parents or older siblings told me to go get something in the room, I would either refuse or quickly dash in and dash out with so much fear. Yes, that could be a traumatic experience and has been a traumatic experience for a lot of people. Movies, right? Concepts. Yeah. In fact, a lot of parents still do it till today. We traumatize our children. We say, I will call Enugu Egunu for you. You better eat this food or you better do this thing. I'm going to call Egunu for you. And we think it's a good way to make our children align, but we are creating trauma in their lives. We are making them become fearful. And when children become fearful as adults, they are not courageous. They are not able to attempt things. They are not able to do what their mates all over the world are doing. It is why we have a lot of mediocrity in Africa, because one of the major underpinnings of our culture in Africa makes us very timid. Yeah. So our culture, within the fabric of our culture, is laced, timidity is laced within it, right? And sometimes we even term it as respect. So we say things like, when an older person is speaking, you're not supposed to speak. You're not supposed to ask questions or challenge an older person, right? We say things like, you're not supposed to look into the eyes of someone who is older than you. Whatever an older person says is right or is correct. Yeah. And we now raise children who are fearful, who are timid, who are not able to fully express themselves at the highest level. We induce a lot of corporal punishment on children, a lot of it, and say and quote the Bible, spare not the rod to spoil the child. And then, we say we are better than people in the West. Yet, everybody wants their children to go to school in the West. We want our children to go abroad. In fact, adults are even traveling abroad. If we are better, why are you traveling? What are you going to look for over there, right? But the truth is that they must be doing something right for them to have children and adults alike who are creating things, adults and children who are inventing, who are producing, as against us who are just consumers. And there's something wrong with the culture of our parenting, and one of it is these traumatic experiences that we are creating for our children. We are creating a lot of traumatic experiences. So if you're here and you tell your children, you threaten them with something, I will call Egunu for you, or I will, call this person for you, or I will call that person for you, or make this particular thing that makes them fearful is not a good thing. You laugh over it, but what you are doing or not to do is that you are creating a fearful child. You are modeling fear, and it's going to affect them in the long run. So the second thing there is then the survival response. Yes, so there's usually a response that is elicited from that traumatic event. So this is the individual's immediate response, which may be fight, which may be flight, which may be freeze, and of course, one has been added, and that is fawn. Yeah. So say what these are people's responses to traumatic events, to traumatic experiences. So it's either they fighting those traumatic experiences can be exhibited in things like irritability, where people just become irritable, or even anger or aggression. Yeah, moving forward. Because for some people, for instance, one of their major motivations for even succeeding and achieving things, doing well in life, is coming from a place of trauma. They never know, but it's coming from trauma. Yeah, because there are two types of motivation. There is moving away from and moving towards motivation. Moving away from is what something that you are moving away from that is serving as motivation for you, right? While moving towards is something you are moving towards that is serving as a motivation for you. These are the two types of motivation people have. And for people who have been traumatized without knowing, they are motivated by what they are running away from. You know, they say you're either pursuing something or something is pursuing you, right? So a lot of the people who are motivated by things that are pursuing them, it's coming from a place of trauma. And I'll give you an example. For instance, it's possible that somebody was told while they were growing up by their class teacher when they were in JSS 3 that they would never amount to anything. And after they heard that, that served as a motivation for moving forward and doing their best to make sure that they turn out to be something so that they can prove their class teacher wrong. That is trauma. That is trauma response. So you are responding to that trauma by trying to achieve. Yes. That is why the best kind of motivation is not moving away from. The best kind of motivation is moving towards. Yes. So it is better to be motivated by positivity than to be motivated by negativity. Yeah, so it could be anger, it could be aggression. You know, a lot of people are just angry about certain things, you know, that is coming from a place of trauma. You just see that certain things get them really, really angry, and you're wondering, why is this person so angry? Why is this person so aggressive? It is trauma. It is trauma, right? It could be flight as well, anxiety, fear, panic, avoiding, chronic worry. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if I fail? What if I don't succeed? What if they don't accept me? What if I'm not able to get married? What if I'm not able to give birth to children? All of that are coming from a place of trauma. Yeah, chronic worry. Even perfectionism can be coming from a place of trauma. Yeah, it's possible, for instance, that you grew up in a family where your dad and your mom, they were so hard on you. They demanded excellence and perfection so much from you that you became a perfectionist. You, even without knowing, you have become an adult right now, but that training has formed a trauma on the inside of you. So that right now, you know, you always want to be perfect. And that trait of perfectionism makes you to procrastinate, so that you things that you should have executed, you still want it to be perfect, and that's why you are here to execute. That is trauma response. It could be freeze. It could be the fact that you're just stuck. You just realize that I'm stuck. Nobody, sometimes people around you can't even decipher or see that you're stuck, but you know that you are stuck on the inside of you, right? Collapse, immobilization, spacing out, dissociation, right? When you just feel like you are dissociated from your body or from your real self. Depression, shame, all of these things, you know, are trauma responses. So one, I want you to type for me in the chat box, based on the trauma that you have, what are your current trauma responses? What are your current trauma responses? I'd like to see some of them, some of your responses in the chat box. Is yours fight? Is it flight? Is it freeze? Or is it fun, right? I want to see some of your responses in the chat box. What I consider to be a trauma response for you. Yeah, can we see some of that in the chat box? Yeah. What are trauma responses? How are you currently responding to trauma? How are you currently responding to trauma? So this is fight and freeze. Okay. Somebody say fun. Fun is not a trauma response. So where did you see that from? Where did you see fun from? Fun is not a part of trauma response. Okay. Who else? Who else is telling us how they currently are responding to their trauma? Okay, flight. All right. Right. Okay. Anybody responding? Okay. We have fight, we have freeze, we have flight already. Okay. Just two people are here. Where's every other person? Okay, somebody say fight. All right. Beautiful. So these are examples you know, how people are able to respond to the trauma in their lives, right? And then, of course, um, the next one is dissociation, right? Talks about the disconnection between one's thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, in order to just cope with that trauma. Sometimes, and most times, unconscious, right? So there is depersonalization, which is a function of dissociation. Depersonalization is where you just feel a disconnection between your body, right, and yourself. You just feel like you are outside of your body. You just feel like your body is another entity. Yeah, that is depersonalization, right? So this is also part of the cycle of trauma for a lot of people, where there is that disconnect. This is where a lot of people even now begin to display multiple, what we call, or what people call multiple personalities, right? Where they feel like they are different people based on that traumatic experience. Yeah. And then we also have repression. Repression is pushing traumatic memories or emotions into the unconscious mind to avoid dealing with them. Yeah. So there are people, and I've seen this firsthand in sessions in therapy, where somebody can't even remember their traumatic experiences that they had. Yeah. They can't even remember it. They can't remember it because they have repressed it. Sometimes people come for therapy, they are dealing with a particular thing as an effect of a trauma, and they come to be quote unquote treated from that effect without even knowing or without even remembering that there was a cause, and that cause is a trauma in their lives that elicited those effects. Yeah, sometimes they can't even remember it because they have repressed it into the unconscious mind. Yeah, because there are three parts of the mind: the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. So the unconscious mind, they can't even remember it until, of course, they are helped to elicit those memories, and that's when they now begin to remember that, okay, when I was 4 years old, somebody raped me. When I was 6 years old, I was abused by my cousin. And then when I was 10 years old, this happened to me, and that's when they begin to remember that. So repression is a part of the cycle. And then triggering is exposure to stimuli that remind the individual of the traumatic event, leading to re-experiencing of the trauma. Yeah. So this is exposure to a stimuli, and everybody who has experienced one form of trauma, one form of trauma or the other, get to have those triggers that remind them of that trauma. Like I said earlier, it could be even a particular type of voice. It could be, a particular kind of physique. Some people would say that I don't just like guys who are fair. And you're wondering why. It's coming from a place of trauma. Maybe they dated a guy who was fair, who was promiscuous, and who cheated on them. And that became traumatic and a traumatic experience. So when they see a fair guy, the first thing that comes to their mind is a cheat. Yeah, that fair guy becomes a trigger. In fact, they become really disrespectful towards fair guys, sometimes without even knowing, because fair guys have become a trigger for them. For some others, it's even a cologne or a type of perfume that is their trigger. For some others, it's a particular word, like I said, or a particular place. Whenever they go to that place, they just get really triggered as a result of that. And then the last is reenactment, unconsciously recreating the traumatic situation or dynamics in an attempt to master or resolve. This is an unconscious thing that people who are dealing with trauma do. They try to recreate that traumatic experience or dynamics in an attempt to master or resolve the trauma without even knowing. All right, they just create those experiences, right? Because they want to master or resolve the trauma except that it becomes more complex for them when they try to do this, and this doesn't solve the situation. So let's now talk about the inner child, yeah, which is our focus in today's session. The inner child. What is the inner child? The inner child refers to the subconscious part of an adult that still holds the memories, emotions, and experiences of their childhood. The inner child refers to the subconscious part of an adult that still holds the memories, emotions, and experiences of their childhood. Trapped within every man is a boy. Trapped within every woman is a girl. Yes, there is a child in everyone. No matter how hard a person looks, no matter how macho a man looks, no matter how feminist a lady looks, trapped within that man, within that woman is a girl and a boy. If you speak to their inner child, it will respond. Yes, that is why there's nobody who is not capable of expressing emotions at a level when their inner child is spoken to. They will express emotions. Yeah, because trapped within everybody is that subconscious part of them, right? That has affected, their adulthood. Now, what are the signs that your inner child is not healed? Well, how would you know that you have an unhealed inner child, that you need healing as a matter of urgency? Number one is if you get easily triggered by words, situations, or people leading to intense emotional reactions. If what people say really gets to you, when people use a particular word, it really triggers you. It really gets you angry, gets you gets you fuming, right? You might have to heal your inner child. Your inner child might need healing at that point. If situations, people trigger you, so that you elicit emotional reactions, intense emotional reactions, it is possible that you need to heal your inner child. Number two, if you if you are engaged in self-sabotaging or destructive behaviors or patterns, such as addictions, if you have any form of addiction, whether sexual addiction, pornography addiction, masturbation addiction, gambling addiction, um, um, drug addiction, whatever kind of addiction, even social media addiction or screen addiction, whatever kind of addiction that you have, it might be telling you that your inner child needs some sort of healing. Procrastination as well can be telling you that your inner child is unhealed and needs healing, where you just procrastinate. Or sometimes it could even be perfectionism, like I mentioned earlier, where you just want everything to be perfect, where you struggle and you grapple to really do things if they don't meet a particular standard. It might just be that that behavior is responding to the pain and to the wound of your inner child. Or you just see yourself every single time you are in an abusive relationship, or you are in an unhealthy relationship, you are in a toxic relationship. You are wondering, what is it safe? Now let me get this word. Why is my things always different? Why is it that every time I enter into a relationship, it's always a toxic relationship? It might be that you have an unhealed inner child, because we don't attract what we like, we attract who we are. Yes. So if you consistently attract a kind of person into your life, it might be that is really who you are on the inside, or who you have become, and you need to heal that person so that you can begin to attract a different set of people. Yeah. Or if you're grappling with low self-esteem, you're struggling with self-worth, confidence, and are just accepting yourself for who you are. You want to be somebody else, or you are just obsessed with ladies that do BBL. So right now it's BBL that's on your mind. You your shape, doesn't is not appealing for you anymore. No matter how much people tell you are beautiful, you still don't believe that you are beautiful. It might be that there's a wound and a pain in your inner child that is yet to be healed. Because I tell people that self-acceptance must be the foundation for self-development. Yes, you must develop yourself But you must not develop yourself from the wrong perspective. You must not develop yourself because you want to impress other people. You must not develop yourself because you don't like yourself. No, you must develop yourself because you like yourself. That must be the foundation from which you develop yourself. So self-acceptance must be the very foundation for self-development. When that is not the case, it is possible that your inner child needs healing. And then if you're struggling to form and maintain healthy or intimate relationships, it is possible that your inner child needs healing. Yes, so for you, you just discover that it is not that you attract toxic people, it is that you are a toxic person. Yeah, and you must be true to yourself. You must be true to yourself. Yeah, you must be true to yourself. And unexamined life is not worth living. So you must examine yourself and be truthful to yourself. If nobody will tell you the truth, you must tell yourself the truth. You must tell yourself that, in my case, it is not that I attract toxic people. It is that I'm always a toxic person. It is that I don't know how to maintain relationships. I don't know how to, maintain and keep relationships going. Or for some others, it is that they don't like intimacy, right? They are scared of intimacy. They are scared of closeness because of a trauma in their life. So they are exhibiting avoidant attachment style as a result of a trauma that has happened in their life. And also, if you're experiencing persistent emotional pain, right? Somebody did something to you, and you are whenever you remember it, you still feel a lot of pain from that memory. You still feel those emotions that you felt the first day that thing happened to you. Or maybe the pain has reduced, but you just know that the pain is still there, right? Or you're experiencing anxiety or depression as a result of these experiences. That is the evidence that you are still grappling with your inner child, and your inner child needs healing. Yeah. So let's now get to the practical of now helping you to heal the inner child. So I want to make this as practical as possible, right? It's not just to tell you theories, to tell you what you need to do, but I want to help you begin your healing journey right here and right now. So what I want you to do is to look for a comfortable position, right? And get a writing material, a pen, and a book, because I want to take you through healing your inner child. And I want everybody to participate in this exercise. So if you are ready, I want to type yes, I'm ready in the chat box. Type yes, I'm ready in the chat box. If you're ready for this healing right now. Type yes, I'm ready in the chat box. I want to make sure everybody's ready. Get your writing material, your pen, and your diary or book, whatever it is to write with, and get seated in a comfortable position. If possible, if it's possible, get away from other people and just be alone for the next few minutes that we will be having this session. Okay, so we have quite a number of people that are ready. So let's give others 1 more minute to get ready. Yeah, get a comfortable position. If possible, get a place where you can be alone so that you can participate in this exercise. Yeah, and once you're ready, type yes, I am ready in the chat box so that we can proceed. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 yeses here. Let's get a few more, maybe 3 more yeses, and we can fly with that. Yeah, because I want everybody to benefit from this. I want everybody to benefit from this. So type yes, I am ready. Type yes, I am ready, and let's get going. So if you're ready, I want you to sit in a comfortable position right now, writing material, and let's start with a deep breath. So take a deep breath. So breathe in and then breathe out. Breathe in one more time and then breathe out. I just want you to relax. I just want you to relax. Yeah. And it's okay to express your emotions as we do this session, right? It's okay to express your emotions. So if you want to cry, cry. Whatever it is you want to do, please go ahead and do to release the emotions. I know a lot of people have said, oh, strong people don't cry. They will even say men don't cry. That's a lie. Crying is a way of expressing your emotions. So if that's how you want to express your emotion, it is absolutely fine. Yeah. But I don't want to hold anything back. I want you to just release yourself during this session. I want you to be open-minded and release yourself as we do this exercise. Okay, so yes. So right now, I want you to acknowledge your inner child. To begin your inner child healing, you first need to acknowledge the presence of your inner child. So close your eyes right now and just acknowledge the presence of your inner child. Just acknowledge the presence of that still small voice on your inside. That's your inner child. Acknowledges its presence. That boy trapped within the body of a man, that girl trapped within the body of a woman. Acknowledge the presence of your inner child. Say, yes, I can see you, miracle. I can see you, miracle. I can see you. Just call your name and say, yes, I can see you, as a way to identify that inner child. Yeah. And then I want you to be able to trace the pain in your life, whatever kind of pain you're feeling right now in your life. Yeah, I want you to name that pain in your write it down on your sheet of paper. Write down your diary right now. What is the pain? Be specific about it. Yeah. Is it the pain of regret? Is it the pain of neglect? Is it the pain, of abuse, of rape, of verbal abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse? What is the pain? Name the pain right now. Name the pain. Name the pain. Then answer the next question, which is, what are your emotional triggers? What are the things that trigger you? What are those things that trigger you? We've thought about triggers a lot, during the session. Is it a particular person that triggers you? When you hear a particular name, is that what triggers you? When you see a particular person, is that what triggers you? When you see a particular maybe tribe, is that what triggers you? Yeah. So what are your emotional triggers? Is it a particular cologne or perfume that triggers you? What are your triggers? What are your triggers? Write your triggers down. It could even be that now that you're married, your trigger is sex. Whenever you want to have sex with your partner, it triggers all of those memories. Write down your triggers. Yeah. Write down your triggers. Let everything go tonight. Let it go. Just release it. And then, what are you feeling? Write what you're feeling right now. As you're writing and doing this exercise, write down what you're feeling. Are you feeling hot? Are you feeling pain? Are you feeling heartbroken? Are you feeling deserted? Are you feeling jilted? Are you feeling heartbreak? What are you feeling? Are you feeling neglected? Are you feeling anger? Are you feeling anxious? Write down your feelings right now. What exactly are you feeling? Write down your feelings. Write down everything that you're feeling right now. It's possible for somebody you even have mixed feelings. You're feeling more than one type of way right now. Write down those feelings. Write down those feelings, and then ask yourself, what are those thoughts? What are the thoughts on my mind right now? Because every feeling is precipitated by thoughts. by a thought or a belief. Every feelings are not isolated, right? Feelings are usually associated by thoughts. Sometimes we don't even know those thoughts, but those thoughts are there. So what are the thoughts that you're having right now? You write down every thought that comes to your mind. Is it that, oh, I wish I was not on that particular day, I was not at that particular place at that particular time on that particular day? Is it that, oh, I wish I never came across this person? Is it that I wish I was never born into this family? Is it that I wish I was never born into this country? What are your thoughts right now are surrounding these emotional triggers that you're having, or these emotions that you're feeling right now? What are your thoughts? What are, oh, I will never forgive this person, or this person caused me so much pain? Yeah. What are your thoughts right now? And then tell me where your body can you feel those emotions. What part of your body can you feel those emotions? Write down in your sheet of paper where you can feel those emotions. Are you feeling those emotions in your head? Is it possible you're feeling it in your heart? Right? Is it possible you're feeling it on your belly? Your belly is rumbling right now as a result of those emotions. Where are you feeling those emotions in your body? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I want to be sure that we are in sync and everybody is following. So if you're following, type yes in the chat box. If you're doing this, type yes in the chat box. Type yes in the chat box so that I'm sure that we are all following and we're all doing this. We're all in sync with what is going on. Type yes in the chat box. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, thank you very much for your responses. Beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to take feedback afterwards, but let's continue. Let's now go to your childhood timeline. Yeah. So write down for me events that affected you, what age you were, and the places those events happened. What are those events? Was it the event of rape? Where did it? How old were you? Were you 7 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, 9 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old? What are those events that affected you, that traumatized you? What are those events? Was it when you were in JSS3 and then the teacher told you will never amount to anything? Was it when you were in SS2 and they told you you were not made for the sciences? What was that event? Or was it something your father said to you while you were 7 that I don't even know why I gave birth to you? What was it? What events affected you? How old were you? Was it that your mother left you at a very critical point in your life where you needed her the most, when you were maybe just 1 year old or 2 years old, and she walked out of your life, and that has traumatized you? You still can't find it in your heart to forgive her, even though this happened 32 years ago. Right? That what events affected you, how old were you, and the places it happened. Write that down right now in your sheet of paper. Write it down. And then tell me, what does your inner child want? What does your inner child want? Does he want healing? Does he want closure? What does your inner child want? Does your inner child want peace? Does he want love? What does your inner child want? Does he want validation? Yeah. What does your inner child want? Does this part need attention, love, validation, or acceptance? What does your inner child want? Write it down right now. Write it down right now. Does he want forgiveness? Because he can express whatever it is it wants at this point in time. And then tell me, who hurt you? Who was it that hurt you? Was it your teacher? Was it your father? Was it your mother? Was it your brother? Or your sister? Or your friend? A very close friend who betrayed you? Or was it your partner? Your boyfriend? So who hurt you? Who was it that hurt you? Write it down. Was it your brother? Was it your sister? Was it your dad? Was it your mom? Was it your teacher? Was it your mentor? Was it a mentee? Was it somebody you helped? And then the person paid you, evil for the good that you did for them. Was it your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or even your husband or your wife? Who was it that hurt you? Write it down. Yes, write it down. And what was it that hurt you? What exactly was it that hurt you? Was it what they said? Was it how they said it? Was it a response? Was it a reaction? Was it a statement? Was it a behavior? Was it an attitude? Was it whatever it is? What ought you? Write that down as well. And then, why does this path need healing? Why does this path need healing? Why does this path need what it is seeking for? Write a valid reason. It could be that, oh, this part of me, this inner child, my inner child needs healing because I've just been stuck emotionally for the past 8 years, for the past 12 years. Because the same way we have chronological age, we also have emotional age. There are people, for instance, even though they are 30, emotionally they are still 2 years old because their emotions stop growing at the age of 2. Maybe at that point in their life where they experience serious abuse. For some others, they are 25, but emotionally they are 7 years old. So it's possible their emotions are stuck, and you just want to become free of that place that you are. Yeah, that place of being stuck. You just want to get free from it. So why do you need this healing? Write it down. Oh, I want my inner child to be healed because there's so much more I have to give. That could be your reason. It could be, oh, I want my inner child to be healed because I also want to be able to help other people heal as well. That could be your reason. I want my inner child to be healed because my world is waiting for me. Yeah, that could be your reason. I want my inner child to heal because I want to experience real peace and harmony in my life. So why does this part of you need healing? So also you need to accept the wound happened. Acceptance is where it starts from. Yes, I know it was painful. I know, oh, you wish it never happened. I also wish it never did, but it happened. We need to accept it. We need to stop living in denial. Because if you keep living in denial of what has happened, you can never heal. So it is important that you face that trauma in your life. Face what has happened. Yes, you were raped. Yes, you were emotionally abused. Yes, you were sexually abused. Yes, you were verbally abused. Yes, you were told that thing. Accept what has happened. Accept it. Yeah, because we are all products of our circumstances. However, we must not remain prisoners of them. Yes, even though we are products of our circumstances, we're not supposed to be prisoners of those circumstances. So accept what has happened. Accept the wound. Accept it. Tell yourself, yes, I feel this pain. Stop trying to brush it off and say, no, I'm okay. You know you're not okay. You know it. You know it that this is not your best self. You know you can be better than this. You know you are more than this. Accept it. It's okay to accept it. Vulnerability is strength. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It takes courage to be vulnerable. So accept it, that it won't happen. And number 2, understand that there is pain and trauma in the life of the person that hurts you. Yes, trauma is a cycle. It is a cycle, right? And it goes in circles. That is why we have generational trauma. That is why trauma can be transferred from one generation to the other. It can be transferred from father to child, from mother to child, even from ancestors to offspring. Yes, to the 3rd and 4th generation. We have transgenerational trauma. Even there can be a trauma nationally. Yeah, it can be national trauma. These are things that are possible. So you need to understand that this thing goes in cycles. And if you don't deal with yours right now, you might as well be passing it to the next generation. That is why it's pertinent for you to understand that the person who hurts you, that person who hurts you also had trauma in their life. Yes, because hurting people will always hurt other people. From traumatized people, we also traumatize other people. So understand that, because that understanding is a game changer. Yes, you cannot forgive anyone who you have not fully understood. Forgiveness comes from understanding why people did what they did. Yeah. So no matter what they did, people must have been coming from a particular point or place in their lives for them to be able to do what they do. Imagine somebody who forces himself on another human being. You must know that for somebody to force himself sexually on somebody else, it's not quote unquote ordinary. That person is traumatized. That person is dealing with a lot of pain in their lives. Yes. And that's why people who are abused will most likely abuse other people. So understand that there's pain and trauma in the life of the person that hurt you. And number three, forgive who or what caused you the pain. So forgiveness is the next step. To now say, you know what? I'm going to let go. I'm going to forgive this person. I'm going to forgive. And for, you know what? Forgiveness is usually expressed. If you truly want to forgive, you need to express that forgiveness. Yeah, you cannot just forgive isolatedly. You cannot just forgive internally. You need to express that forgiveness. In fact, for many of us, it is in the process of expressing the forgiveness that we would actually feel that forgiveness. Because a lot of the times people are waiting to feel forgiveness before they extend forgiveness. No. I tell people, you can feel your way into acting, but you can also act your way into feeling. Yes. So by the time you begin to extend forgiveness towards that person, you will begin to feel that forgiveness on your inside. Yeah. To express the forgiveness. It could be a gift you send to the person this week. It could be a written note you send to the person. It could be a letter you're writing to the person, a text message, a WhatsApp voice note, whatever it is, just to say, you know what, you offended me. You did this to me and it really hurt me. But I just want to let you know that I have forgiven you. I've let go, right? And I'm letting God to take control from today. So express that forgiveness. Is the person late? You can still express that forgiveness. Write a letter to the person as if the person was still alive. Or get a mirror and assume that you are talking to the person in front of your mirror, and then express the pain. First of all, make sure you express the pain that this person made you feel, and then go ahead to express the forgiveness that you're extending towards this person. Yeah. Then create a new belief about yourself. Create a new belief about yourself. What would be that new belief about you? Yeah. And that is what I want you to write in the chat box right now. What is that new belief about you? What is that new narrative about you that you are going to believe and other people will come to align with? What is going to be that new belief about you? Is it that, oh, the new belief I'm going to have about myself right now is that I'm at peace with myself? Or is it going to be I am love, and love is what you experience when you come across me? Or is it going to be I'm the best of my kind? Or is it going to be I'm at peace with everybody and everything that surrounds me? Whatever that new belief is about you, I want you to go ahead right now and don't just write it in your notes, write it in the chat box. I want everyone to see that new belief that you have about yourself, that new narrative that you have about yourself going forward today. So this is going to be a new belief that I have about myself, something that contradicts what I used to believe about myself. Maybe you used to believe that you are not the best of your kind, but right now you're going to say, you know what? I am the best of my kind. I want to welcome you to a new season of your life. I want to welcome you to the best version of you. And I want you to know that I'm rooting for you. Yes. I think it was Theodore Roosevelt that said, if we are related, we shall meet. And I believe that we are related, and that's why we have met. Right. Thank you for renting me a space in the duplex of your head. I intend to be there for a very long time. Yeah. To keep doing the house cleaning and helping you to become a better person. Thank you very much for having me, and have a wonderful time.
Wow, a round of emoji applause, virtual applause. Let us see the emoji coming in. That was quite profound. In fact, I'm sure that the time that was given to Dr. Miracle is not enough. If you allow him, he can keep going on, and it will make sure that you get to that point that you should actually get to. I'm sure that many of us really felt like something happened to us on our inside. If you happen to have felt something, I want to see it in the chat box. I felt something. I felt something. At some point, in fact, I wanted to start crying, but I don't want to spoil my makeup. I've done the exercise before, so yeah, I'm permitted not to cry now, because the first time I did mine, I felt something on my inside. It was like my stomach was going to burst. It was like my heart, my chest was feeling a little bit tight. And then after everything, after I reframed that statement that I used to hear, so let me just give you a little backstory. So I lived in my aunt. I didn't stay with my parents. My parents dropped me at 7 months with my auntie, and I kept asking questions. Why did you drop me at 7 months? There's nothing that is actually the reason why they dropped me at 7 months, right? So my auntie was always saying a lot of things to me, like, you are useless, you are this, you are that. So plus the fact that my parents dropped me and dumped me there, I felt like, oh, they didn't want me. This one too is telling me that I'm useless, this and that. So when I did my own Healing the Inner Child exercise, I really felt good about myself and realized that I don't have to be, when you mentioned that when somebody, as you grew up with somebody who always says that you are not enough, you are useless, you're not doing it the right way, you become a perfectionist, and then in turn begin to procrastinate, because you feel like, if I do it now, I don't think I have enough item or content or wisdom or knowledge to get that thing done the right way. In fact, this Menda's Hill coaching company is supposed to have been launched since like 2023. Right, but because of this childhood trauma, I had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing it forward. But there are so many people who are out there that experience the same thing that I experienced as well. I'm sure that there are many people on this call that I've also experienced some derogatory statements, even from parents and from folks and from people that we really respect. They don't even have to say derogatory stuff to you, right? They might send you on an errand and you didn't do it well, and they just tell you that you didn't do it well, you are just useless, you can't do stuff well. So I'm sure that you felt really good this night. I'm sure you feel light. I'm sure that everything that you heard tonight will continue to resonate in your being. And let's just quickly go into the question session now. I know that we have many questions for Dr. Miracle. So I pinned a comment. So if you have a question, please go on Slido. Or if you don't mind, you can put your question in the comment section right now, so that we can take your question in due time and quickly, so that we can wrap up by 9. I'm hoping that we'll wrap up by 9, because many people are going to church tomorrow. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat box or go on Slido and let us see what we have, if we can answer your question tonight. Hopefully we would be able to answer your question. So thank you so much, Dr. Miracle. Please, I want to see those emojis again. Please, the emojis. I'm sure that after tonight, you would want to listen to him over and over and over and over again. So if you really do want to listen to him, just reach out to me, or you send us a mail on Menda's Hill Coaching Company. We can also help you heal your inner child. This one is just, it's like when you open a can of worms, you pour it out, and the can is still there. There are still some worms around. You don't know how to deal with those particular ones. That is what we have done today. We have exposed you to what healing looks like, what it feels like. So there is also the Healing the Inner Child therapy that you can and you should actually go through, because there are still some things hidden that are inside of you that you want to let out and also heal from. So I'm still expecting our questions. Simi, please, do we have any questions that we can read out?
All right, so I'll read the first question that we have here. And it says that, how do I stop seeking validation from people who don't even care about me?
Seeking validation from people who don't care about you. You stop. But it just shows that, okay, if you're seeking validation from other people, it is that there is a vacuum in your soul, that you want that validation to feel, or that validation feels. Yes, and that is why healing is very important. And hopefully, we have started that journey for you today, and then you can further on that. Yeah. One of the things that you can begin to do is to begin to give yourself more than enough validation. Begin to validate yourself. So every day, like a pill, Say very positive things about yourself, morning, afternoon, and night. Just the same way doctor would recommend that you take a drug in the morning, the afternoon, and the night. Say that to yourself daily. Just write down a set of affirmation and continue to say those things to yourself. And what those things will do is that they will begin to fill those vacuum, or that vacuum that you have in your soul. And then over time, you realize that, okay, if somebody says positive things about you, yeah, it will just be a confirmation of what you already know. To me, that your heart is longing for it.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Simic, do we have any other question? So it said that those that hurt us because of trauma. So my question is, how can we help them also? I feel if we didn't help them, they will keep hurting us.
Yeah, so you need to understand that there are people you can help, but there are people you can't help. It's not in your place to help them, right? So the fact that you are empathetic doesn't mean that you put yourself in harm's way just because you want to help somebody else. So you need to be gentle as a dove, but be wise as a serpent, right? So there are people you can just help. If there are people you can genuinely help, go ahead and help them. Talk to them about maybe a pattern of behavior. If they are willing to listen, refer them to books, send them link of maybe the recording of this session, and then when they listen to it, they can be inspired to begin to also heal from their own trauma. But there are people okay, there's little or nothing you can do. There are people, in fact, that you need to give social distancing, because you know that just trying to help them in itself would reignite that trauma, and to continue from where they stop. So for those ones, you just give them space. Or those you can help, or you feel like you feel like, okay, there's a way you can help them, go ahead and practically help them heal from their trauma. Yeah, not as a therapist, but as via the various suggestions I gave earlier.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I'm trying to understand this person's question, but I think the person typed it in three different ways. So, the person said, I lost my dad 15 years ago. He died in the hospital. My grandma and my uncle also died in the hospital. I love these people so much. We were very close. Okay, ever since, I've been scared to visit the hospital, even for personal checkups. This trauma makes me ponder on negative thoughts, fosters fear. How do I overcome this fear and stop these negative thoughts?
Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's a trauma, a valid trauma. So it is, of course, coming from an evidence that you have in front of you, except that evidence that you have is not that evidence does not actually validate the thoughts or belief that you have about going to the hospital. Yeah. So what you need to do is to change the belief that you have about going to the hospital. Yeah. And it's a belief that you may know at the realm of mental accent, in the sense that for instance, that going to the hospital, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that going to the hospital, it doesn't mean I'm also going to die, like my dad or like my aunt or like my uncle, as the case may be. But you need to practice that belief or thoughts. Yes, you need to have that belief and thoughts that says you are not going to necessarily die just because your uncle and your dad died in the hospital. Yeah, but you need to practice it. How do you practice a thought? You practice a thought by repetition. You keep repeating that thought to yourself over time, right? Like an affirmation. And then that thought would ultimately begin to replace the pre-existing thoughts that you have about that situation. Yeah. Within the frame of that thought that you have, you also need to present new evidences. What does that mean? To say that the reason your brain believes that that you will die if you go to the hospital is because your dad and your aunt died in the hospital. So the evidence will now be this person has also gone to the hospital and has not died. This other person also went to the hospital and not died. So for the 2 people or 3 people that died because they went to the hospital, there are at least maybe 10 other people in your family that have gone to the hospital and not died. So that can now form a basis and like a stronghold from which you now begin to build these new thoughts that you have. So that's how you begin to deal with that. If this sounds complex for you, you might need to, because these are things that we now maybe do in therapy to help people practically deal with this. If it sounds too complex here, we can talk afterwards. But that's how to change that actually.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So this question is quite short and precise. How do I know I'm toxic? And what are the characteristics of a toxic person?
Okay, what? I didn't hear that.
How do I know I am toxic? And what are the characteristics of a toxic person?
Look it up online. You will know. You will know. Just type what are the characteristics of a toxic person. You will see it, and then you now see. Now you do a checklist. Number 1, good. Number 2, no. So that would help you to know if you're a toxic person or not.
All right. How do I stand my ground and learn how to say no? Like, I think the person talking about people pleasing.
Yeah, it gets solidified by practice. So you need to begin to practice assertiveness. Yeah. So practice saying no. Yeah, even when you don't feel like it. The more you say no, the more you will master saying no. Another thing you can do, you can get my book. In my book, there's a book I wrote on self-esteem. I dedicated a whole chapter on how to be assertive. How to be assertive. So there are a lot of techniques that you can use. Another one is making sure that you are audible enough when you speak. Yeah, because a lot of the times people who are not assertive usually talk under their breath. They will say things that you can't even hear. So just try to talk as loudly as you can, not shout, but as loudly as you can to project so that people can see the strength in your voice. Yeah. So there are many other things that you can begin to do. And for instance, using I statements can actually help you to be assertive and let other people know that you mean what you're saying. I don't want you to do this because I feel like when you do this, this happens. So using the I statement helps. There are many other techniques, that if you get my book, you would get them there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I think this is the second to the last question. I'm just waiting for the last question that just came in to be completed because it's not complete.
I think someone is raising up their hand. Does the person ask a question?
Yes, the person has typed in a chat box already.
Okay.
Okay, so this question says, I'd need you to explain the major difference between motivation and trauma response. How can one decipher between the two?
Interesting. So motivation is the reason why you are doing a thing, right? It is some people have defined as motive in action, right? So while trauma response is response to trauma. So while motivation can be trauma response, not all trauma responses are coming from a place of, or not all motivations rather are trauma responses. Do you get that? So while certain trauma responses or while motivation rather can be a trauma response. So somebody can be motivated as a result of trauma. Not all motivations are as a result of trauma. That's a simpler way to explain it. Yeah. So that's the difference between motivation and trauma response.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I think I'll just maybe complete this person's question for them. So the person said, losing my dad has been the biggest trauma for me. I no longer find solace in things that I used to anymore. I get sad behind doors, but it's hard to heal. So I think I'll just complete that. How can I overcome the trauma of losing my dad?
Yeah, so of course that we need to ask more questions from that person to say, okay, are you living with your dad? Um, if you're living with your dad, for instance, okay, is it possible to live somewhere else? So at least you leave that environment. If no, or even if yes, or and you can't leave that environment, what are the things he says that triggers you? What are the things he does that triggers you? And then how can we then begin to change the meaning of what he says and what he does? Because really, at the end of the day, it's not what people say that traumatizes us. It's our interpretation of what they say. So if we can change the meaning we attach to things, we will change our emotional and behavioral responses to those things. Nothing means anything except for the meaning we have attached to them. So once we change the meaning we attach to things, we can change our emotions and our responses to those things. Yeah. So if, for instance, your dad says you are useless, one of the reasons you can be traumatized or triggered by that is because you feel like him saying you're useless means that you're good for nothing. But what if you change the meaning of that to say, okay, useless from two words, use and less. So my dad calls me useless because he's not maximizing my potential. Yeah. So then when next he says you are useless, Dad, how more useful can I be to you? Yeah. That is a way to adjust and to change meanings. So the meanings would change the way you feel about those things and change your response to those things.
Okay, so I think maybe you didn't hear me well. You said losing my dad. I think the man died. The person's father died.
Oh, losing
Yes,
the oh
losing my dad has been the biggest trauma for me. I no longer find solace in things. I think the person completed the statement and said, "Yes, I lived with my dad." So
okay,
yes, so I do not like staying at home, but at the same time, I can't stay far from my mom. So the
okay.
person said, so losing, so it's like grief,
You know,
right?
okay, not living, all right, not living with that, but losing
Yes,
your dad.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the question again would now be, when was this? Is it a recent incident? Has it been long? Yeah, because it's possible that the fresher the death of a loved one is, the more pain you will feel. Yeah. So we want to also know how recent this is. But at the same time, it's okay to grieve, right? There's a process of grieving, and you know, hopefully you would be able to get over it. Yeah. But just allow yourself to grieve. Talk about your dad. Talk about his memory, the memories of him. What you love about him. The more you talk about him, the more you would accept what has happened. Yeah. The more you accept it, the faster it is you will begin to heal from that experience. So talk about him. If you need to talk to a therapist, please do. Right. If not, relish in the solace of support systems, people who you can just talk to, you can just vent with, you can just express yourself, who are there to listen to you, and who are there to provide their shoulders for you to cry on, and things like that. All of that will help you to heal faster. Yeah.
Okay, our time is fast spent, but I'm seeing a question here that I think that you can touch on. The person said, sometimes when I raise my voice, I'm told I'm shouting. Now, I don't know the difference between shouting or speaking loudly because I simply think I'm just talking.
Yeah. So for a lot of people that shout, and even me, I'm still a work in progress in that area, because even till now, sometimes when I talk, people say I'm shouting. I'm just shouting. I'm like, oh really? Am I shouting? I didn't know I was shouting. I didn't intend to shout, right? But it's a it's a result of trauma, because, for example, for me, I am the last born of 6 children, right? So shouting was, quote unquote, the only way my voice could be heard at some point, because you were the last born and of 6 people. So you need to become intentional, yeah, about the way you speak. Yeah. To intentionally begin to practice the way you want to speak to other people. So, okay, this is the tonality I'm going to use by speaking to other people. And when people bring your attention to the fact that you're shouting, acknowledge it, apologize, and then revert back to the tonality you want to use in speaking. Practice the same makes permanent, right? You will not get perfect in a day. But more you practice that tone that you want to use, better you will get at it.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I call you Coach Miracle. So thank you so much for coming tonight and really helping us understand in places where it might be foggy or maybe we've never heard of some things before. Thank you so much for also starting our healing journey for us. Thank you for answering to this call. And we hope that you will do greater things. We pray that you continually impact lives positively. And wherever you go, your voice will be heard. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think we should let you go now. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Later.
Thank you, sir. All right. So if you would like to get Dr. Miracle's book, please do let us know. You can send us a message. You can check us up on our social media pages, Menda's Heal Coaching Company on Facebook and Instagram. I think we're also on X. Please check us out. And if you would want to join our community, we've opened a community just for you. That's called the Menda's Healing Haven, right? So we call it the MHQ. It's a place where you can learn, where you can heal, where you can get tips and tricks on how not to become a person who repeats cycles of trauma. And you would also learn a number of things on how to continually be a person who gives themselves validation and not wait for other people to validate them, right? So there's one particular statement I want us to take away with us, that we are products of our circumstances, but we should not remain prisoners, right? And here at Menda's Heal Coaching Company, what we do is to help you to go from the place of trauma to the place of healing. And remember that our major customers or clients are the teenagers and the adolescents, those from the ages of 10 to the age of 25 or 30. So whatever way you would like to heal, we are right here to help you out with that. So thank you so much for joining in. I hope that you were able to learn something today. And please don't forget that the link is already in the chat box to join our community of people who want to continually be healed and remain healed. There is a way a person can be healed and then slip back into the sickness that they used to have before. I want to quickly wrap up this call because our time is fast spent. We're taking 6 minutes out of your time. We want to continue to be integrous and not take out of your time for sleep. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope that you were able to learn one thing or two and also be able to heal from the things that you might have gone through as a child. And this is just the beginning of your healing. Don't forget that. It's just the beginning of your healing. You can also run through the Healing the Inner Child therapy. You can send us a DM on Menda's Heal as well to start your therapy.